The Ailing Planet: The Green Movement's Role by Nani Palkhivala. Okay. Already I have introduced about the meaning of these given phrases and words as an introduction in the video. Now let us begin to understand the entire discussion of the chapter, what this author, the speaker, wants us to understand and reflect to our lives. The following article was written by Nani Palkhivala and published in the Indian Express newspaper on 24th November 1994. The issues that he raised regarding the declining health of the earth continue to have relevance. So this is the article only which was published and written by her as an awareness in the Indian Express on 24th November 1994 regarding the health deterioration of our earth. The chapter begins. One cannot recall any movement in world history which has gripped the imagination of the entire human race so completely and so rapidly as the movement which started nearly 25 in 1972. The world's first nationwide Green Party was founded in the. Since then, the movement has not looked back. In this paragraph, the speaker says the Green Movement, which focuses on environmental issues, sustainability, which began to gain significant attention about 25 years ago. It was started in 1972 with the establishment of the first nationwide Green Party. So this movement was started first by the nationwide Green Party in New Zealand. Since that time, the movement has continued to grow and inspired people around the world. We have shifted one hopes irrevocably from the mechanistic view to a holistic and ecological view of the world. It is a shift in human perceptions as a revolutionary as that introduced by Copernicus, who mankind in the 16th century that the Earth and the other planets revolved around the Sun. For the first time in human history, there is a growing world consciousness that the Earth itself is a living organism, an enormous being which we are parts. It has its own metabolic and vital processes which need to be respected and preserved. So in this passage, the speaker reminds us that we have a significant change in how we see the world, moving from a mechanical perspective where things are viewed as separate and isolated to a holistic and ecological perspective that sees everything as interconnected. This change is compared to the grounding ideas of Copernicus, who in the 16th century revealed that the orbits around the sun. Now, people increasingly recognize that the Earth is a living organism with its own needs and processes, and it's important to respect and protection. The Earth's vital signs reveal a patent in declining health have begun to realize ethical obligation to be good stewards of the planet and responsible trustees of the legacy to future generations. In this passage, the speaker says that the earth's health is declining day by day, similarly to a patient who is not well sick people. We are starting to understand that we have a moral responsibility to take care of the planet, our Mother Earth, and to manage its resources wisely for the benefit of future generations. The concept of sustainable development, popularized in 1987 by the World Commission on Environment and Development, in its report, it defined the idea as development meets the needs of the present, compromising the ability of future generations to meet their needs. That is, without stripping the natural of resources future generations would need. So here in this paragraph, the speaker's idea is of sustainable development became well known in 1987 when the World Commission on Environment and Development described it as a way of developing that fulfills the needs of today's people without harming the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. This means using natural resources wisely so that they are still available for future generations. In the zoo at Lusaka, Zambia, there is a cage where the notice reads the world's most dangerous animal. Inside the cage, there is no animal but a mirror where you see yourself. That means in front of the mirror, we see ourselves. Thanks to the efforts of a number of agencies in different countries, a new awareness has now dawned upon the most dangerous animals animal in the world. He has realized the wisdom of shifting from a system based on domination to one based on partnership. So in this paragraph, the speaker tries to make us understand that at the Lusaka Zoo in Zambia, there's a cage labeled the world's most dangerous animal, but instead of an animal, there's a mirror inside the cage reflecting the viewer's image itself. Whoever goes there and stand in front of it, the image of himself. This symbolizes that humans are considered the most dangerous animals due to their impact on the environment. However, thanks to the efforts of various organizations, people are becoming more aware of the need to change from a midst of no, not midst mindset. Okay, the need to change from mindset of domination over nature to one of partnership and cooperation. The scientists have catalogued about 1.4 million living species with which mankind shares the earth. Estimates vary widely as regards the still uncatalogued living species. Biologists reckon that about 3 to 100 million other living species still languish unnamed in ignominious darkness. In this passage, the speakers says that scientists have identified around 1.4 million species of living organisms that share the earth with humans. However, there are many more species that have not yet been discovered or named. Estimates suggests that there could be anywhere from 3 million to 100 million additional species still unknown to us. Ignominious darkness. One of the early international commissions which dealt inter alia with the question of ecology and environment was the Brandt Commission, which had a distinguished Indian as one of its members, Mr. L. K. Jha. The first Brandt report raised the question, are we to leave our successors a scorched planet of advancing deserts, impoverished landscapes, and ailing environment? Here, the speakers says that the Brandt Commission was one of the first international groups to address issues related to ecology and the environment, and it included a notable Indian member, Mr. L.K. Jha. In its first report, the Commission proposed, uh, put forward a critical questions about the future. Will we leave our descendants a damaged planet filled with deserts, ruined landscapes, and a sick environment? This emphasizes the importance of taking care of the earth for future generations. Mr. Lester R. Brown, in his thoughtful book, The Global Economic Prospect, points out that the Earth's principal biological systems are four: fisheries, forests, grasslands, and croplands, and they form the foundation of the global economic system. In addition to supplying our food, these four systems provide virtually all the raw materials for industry except minerals and petroleum derived synthetics. In large areas of the world, human claims on these systems are reaching an unsustainable level, a point where their productivity is being impaired. When this happens, fisheries collapse, forests disappear, grasslands are converted into barren wasteland, and croplands deteriorate. In a protein conscious and protein hungry world, overfishing is common every day. In poor countries, local forests are being decimated in order to procure firewood for cooking. In some places, firewood has become so expensive that what goes under the pot now costs more than what goes inside it. Since the tropical forest is, in the words of Dr. Mayers, the powerhouse of evolution, several species of life face extinction as a result of its destruction. So here in this paragraph, it is the information that the speaker is providing more. Okay. So the speaker says that in his book, whose book? Mr. Lester R. Brown book. The book name is The Global Economic Prospect. Okay. Highlights four essential biological systems that support the global economy. What are they? Fisheries, forests, grasslands, and croplands. These systems provide the food we eat and almost all raw materials for industries except for minerals and synthetic products. However, in many parts of the world, human demand on these resources is becoming unsustainable, harming their ability to produce. This leads to what? Serious consequences. Uh, Fish populations collapse, forests are destroyed, grasslands turned into wasteland, and croplands decline. Overfishing is a significant problem, and in poorer countries, forests are being cut down for firewoods, making it so costly that the fuel can be more expensive than the food cooked with it. The destruction of tropical forests, which are crucial for biodiversity, threatens the survival of species as emphasized by Dr. Specht. It has been well said that precede mankind, deserts follow. The world's ancient patrimony of tropical forests is now eroding at the rate of 40 to 50 million acres a year, and the growing use of dung for burning deprives the soil of an important natural fertilizer. The World Bank estimates that a five-fold increase in the rate of forest planting is needed to cope with the expected fuel wood demand in the year 2000. In this passage, the speaker says that it is often that the forest exists before humans and that deserts come after. Currently, tropical forests are being destroyed at an alarming rate of 40 to 50 million acres each year, and additionally using animal dung as fuel in depletion the soil of a vital natural fertilizer. To meet the projected demand for firewood by the year 2000, the World Bank estimates that we need to increase forest planting five times more than the current rate. James Smith, the president of the World Resources Institute, said that the other day we were saying that we are losing the forests at an acre a second, but it is much closer to an acre and a half to a second. So here, James Smith, the president of the World Resources Institute, recently stated that the rate of deforestation is even more alarming than previously thought. While it was believed that forests are being lost at a rate of 1 acre per second, the actual rate is closer to 1.5 acres per second. And now we'll read the article. Article 48A of the Constitution of India provides that the state shall endeavour to protect and improve the environment and to safeguard the forest and wildlife of the country. Remember, Article 48A of the Indian Constitution. Okay, but what causes endless anguish is the fact that laws are never respected nor enforced in India. For instance, the constitution says that casteism, untouchability, and bonded labor shall be abolished, but they flourish shamelessly even after 44 years of the operation of the constitution. A recent report of our Parliament's Estimates Committee has highlighted the near catastrophic depletion of India's forests over the last 4 decades. India, according to reliable data, is losing its forest at the rate of 3.7 million acres a year. Large areas officially designated as forests land are already virtually treeless. The actual loss of forest is estimated to be about 8 times the rate indicated by government statistics. So here in this article of Constitution, it highlights that the government should work to protect and improve their environment, including forest and wildlife. However, the main problem is the laws are often ignored and not enforced in India. For example, despite the constitution's promise to eliminate issues like caste discrimination and bonded labor and so on. These problems continue to persist. A recent report from Parliament's Estimates Committee has revealed a severe decline in India's forest over the past 44 years, with the country losing about 3.7 million acres of forest each year. Many areas designated as what forest land are almost completely treeless, and the actual deforestation rate is believed to be around 8 times higher than what government statistics shows. A 3-year study using satellites and aerial photography conducted by the United States warns that the environment has deteriorated so badly that it is critical in many of 88 countries investigated. Here, the speakers says that a 3-year study conducted by the UN's using satellite and aerial photography has found that the environment is in a very critical condition in many of the 88 countries examined. This indicates severe deterioration of environmental health in these areas and countries. There can be no doubt that the growth of world population is one of the strongest factors distorting the future of human society. It took mankind more than a million years to reach the first billion. That was the world population around the year 1800. By the year 1900, a second billion was added, and the 20th century has another 3.7 billion. Every 4 days, the world population increases by 1 million. So the population keeps on increasing. Entire world. So this paragraph highlight that the growth of the world population is significantly impacting the future of human society. It took over a million years for the global population to reach its first billion around the year 1800, and by 1900 the population had grown to 2 billion, and in the 20th century an additional 3.7 billion people were added. Today, the estimated world population is 5.7 billion, and it is increasing by about 1 million every 4 days. Just imagine. Fertility falls as incomes rise. Education spreads and health improves. Thus, development is the best contraceptive, but development itself may not be possible if the present increases in numbers continues. As people's incomes increases, education becomes more accessible and health improves. Birth rates tend to decrease. This means that development can act as an effective way to reduce population growth. However, if the current population continues to rise, it may hinder effect further development from happening. The rich get richer and the poor beget children, which condemns them to remain poor. More children does not mean more workers, merely more people without work. It is not suggested that human beings be treated like cattle and compulsorily sterilized. But there is no alternative to voluntary family planning without introducing an element of corcoin. The choice is really the choice is really between control of population and perpetuation of poverty. So this paragraph, what the speaker says, the gap between the rich and the poor continues to widen with wealthier individuals becoming richer while poorer families tend to have more children. which keeps them in a cycle of poverty. Having more children does not create more job opportunities. Instead, it leads to more people who are unemployed. The idea is not to treat people like livestock or force sterilization, but without promoting voluntary family planning, there might be a need for coercive measures. Okay, ultimately, the choice is between managing population growth and continuing the cycle of poverty. The population of India is estimated to be 920 million today, more than the entire populations of Africa and South America put together. No one familiar with the condition in India would doubt that the hope of the people would die in their hungry hutments unless population control is given topmost priority. So here in this paragraph, the speaker says that India's population is estimated to be 920 million, which is greater than the combined population of Africa and South America. Given the challenging conditions many people face in India, it's clear that without prioritizing population control, the hopes and livestock of those living in poverty will continue to suffer. For the first time in human history, we see a transcending concern the survival not just of the people but the planet. We have begun to take a holistic view of the very basis of our existence. The environmental problem does not necessarily signal our dismiss, no, our demise. It is our passport for the future. The emerging New World Vision has ushered in the era of responsibility. It is a holistic view, an ecological view, seeing the world as an integrated whole rather than a dissociated collection of parts. In this paragraph, the narrator or the speakers says that for the first time there is a widespread concern about the survival of both humanity and the planet. People are starting to see the interconnectedness of our existence and recognize that the environmental issues don't just threaten our lives, they also present an opportunity for a better future. This new perspective represents an era of responsibility where we view the world as a unified system rather than a series of separate parts. Industry has a most crucial role to play in this new era of responsibility. What a transformation would be effected if what a transformation would be effected if more businessmen shared the view of Chairman of DuPont, Mr. Edgar S. Woolard, who 5 years ago himself to be the company's chief environmental officer. He said, "Our continued existence excel in environmental performance. Of all the statements made by Margaret Thatcher during the years of her leadership, none has passed uh, so decisively into the current coin of English usage as fallacious words. No generates a life tenancy with a full the words of Mr. Lester Brown from our forefathers. We have in this paragraph the narrator concludes that first one, industry part we will understand. Industry has the most crucial role to play in this new era of responsibility. Industries, the narrator says, or you can say the speaker or the author describes that industries play a critical role, very important role in the new era of responsibility. If more business, if more business, if more business leaders embrace the mindset of Mr. Edgar S. Woolard, the chairman of DuPont, it could lead to significant positive change. He referred to himself as the company's chief environmental officer and stated that for DuPont to remain a leading manufacturer, it must prioritize and excel in environmental performances. One of the Margaret Thatcher's most memorable statements during her time as a Prime Minister is that no generation truly owes the earth. Instead, we have a life tenancy with responsibilities to take care of it. This means we are only temporary caretakers of the planet. Similarly, Mr. Lester Brown emphasizes that we haven't inherited the earth from our ancestors. Rather, we have borrowed it from future generations, highlighting our duty to protect the environment for those who come after us. So finally, we came to an end. Now, green movement and ecological shift is ended. So, what is the reflection, or what is the outcome, or what is the model that we learn? It is very simple. We are stewards of the earth, right? Responsible for preserving it for future generations. So, overview of the entire chapter is like this. The Green Movement, which began with New Zealand's first Green Party in 1972, has rapidly gained global traction. It represents a shift from what a mechanistic to a holistic and ecological perspective, viewing Earth as a living organism with its own needs. This shift is likened to the revolutionary change introduced by Copernicus. The concept of sustainable development, popularized in 1987, emphasizes meeting current needs without compromising future generations' ability to meet theirs. The text highlights the dire state of environment. The world's biological systems are being pushed to unsustainable levels, causing severe depletion of resources. Forests, in particular, are with significant loss of biodiversity. The population surge exacerbates that reduce trading resources and worsening poverty. India's environmental law are often ignored to catastrophic deforestation and degradation. Global growth, while contributing to economic challenges, underscores the urgent need for what voluntary family planning to avoid per- perpetuating poverty. Overall, the text calls for a transcending concern for both humanity and the planet, advocating for a holistic approach to address environmental and social challenges. The era demands responsibility, with industry playing a crucial role in improving environmental performances, as emphasized by leaders like Margaret Thatcher and Mr. Edgar S. Woolard. So finally, we have ended, and thank you for listening my explanation on this green movement. We'll meet with the new chapter. Till then, read and revise. Thank you.